Okay, so the first thing you have to do is check the can is like fully empty, and get this off. Okay, so you can puncture a hole using the scissors, or you can use a craft knife. So the way I prefer to do it is just to start it off with the craft knife, and then do the rest with the scissors. My cat wants to come out the room. I can hear her meowing because she hears me talking, but if I have her in the same room as the camera, she is gonna try and sleep on top of the camera, so that's not gonna be good. Okay, now that you've got this piece off, put that aside, and this is the part you want. So these pieces you have to be really careful. Can you hear? That's like catching against my skin. You don't want that to cut you. So now if you have a look, there's kind of like a beveled edge over here. We're gonna get rid of that so they can open up flat, just like these ones. So we're going to cut just below the beveled edge. And so I guess I'll turn it so that you can hopefully see this. And the longer and the slower the cut, the less chance you'll have of those little jagged edges. Sometimes it's best just to cut little sections off. Okay. Looking pretty good. I see one over here. I don't know if you could see that, but I'm just going to take that off. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to cut it up into other bits. Okay, so this doesn't look really good on the flower because, unless that's the look you're going for, but yeah, it doesn't have a lot of colors. So I like to make the next cut right through the middle of the barcode in the Nutritional Facts. And on the topic of nutritional facts, the reason why I love the Zevia sodas is because they have no sugar and they have no artificial sweeteners, and they're super low carb, which is awesome. And since they have no sugar, they're great for diabetics too. Okay, so you're going to need 2 of these, and I've gone ahead and cut a whole bunch of them. And I'm going to make my favorite one, the Dr. Zevia one. So let me get another piece. Oh, excuse my pen, it's kind of messed up, but it doesn't need to write. It's just so that I can get a more or less idea of what the size of the circle is. Okay, so what you basically want is 6 circles that are similar in size and but slightly varying. So you don't want all 6 to be this size. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, and I'm just going to draw the size here just in case you can't see on the camera. See? Give you a whiteboard marker. When you do a mistake, it comes right off. I want the next one to be slightly bigger, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a square. Okay, so now to take it from a square to a circle is pretty easy. You're going to go from about halfway in the line to like there. You see this triangle, halfway on this line and halfway on this line, and you're just going to curve the edge. So I'll show you. This is not going to look too perfect, but you know what, if it's not perfect, that's fine. And the reason I'm working on newspaper, this line, is because it just makes cleaning up so much easier. I mean, I don't want to be looking on the floor for these little tiny little pieces. Like here's a little small one. This is not cool to pick up off the floor. You could probably vacuum it up, but yeah, we're not going to do that. We'll just pick up the newspaper and dust it into the trash can. Okay, and you're going to want to hang on to this piece of leftover scrap that's kind of long, because we're going to use that to make the stem of the flower. So you can just see basically we have slightly varying sizes. And I'm going to go ahead and cut these into circles for you. And I'm not going for perfection, as you can see. You could wear gloves if your fingers sometimes get sore from the scissors, just like mine do. So with the hand that I'm cutting with, I just put some gloves on. I like to just do a double layer on the hand with the scissors. It makes it really nice and soft. And you could of course wear some safety gloves on both hands, you know, that would be much safer. But the tin is surprisingly not as sharp as what you would think. Now of course it could cut you, so be careful. You have a look here. We have the big one at the bottom. And then we have another one. These two are kind of similar, but a little different, and then a little one. And now comes the fun part. I use an eraser, and let's see if I can, here, I have some pins. You could use needles, safety pins, anything you can lay your hands on. These are just some pins from my husband's dress shirts. I like this one. It has like an easy to press little handle. Okay, so you could measure, but basically you just aim for the sort of center. And then I'm going to take this one and put it in the middle, because it's easy to guess on a small one, but it's not quite as easy to guess on a big one where the center is. Okay, now if you have wire, then don't worry about this next step. But if you don't have wire and you're going to use this as your stem, pay close attention. I'm just going to still use my eraser because I don't want to cut through the table, and I'm just going to make two small slits here, or a little triangle out of here, so that it can fit the stem through. Again, sometimes these are not quite big enough to fit the stem through. You're just going to make it a bit bigger to get the stem through. I'm actually making this for a friend of mine for her birthday. I thought instead of getting her some real flowers, I'll get her some that cost whatever. And plus it's great for the environment. So this doesn't look anything like a rose yet, but soon it will. So I thought this would make a really cute vase, or vase, shall I say, and I'm not sure if it's going to work yet, but I'm just going to dump it in here. I haven't cut the flowers yet, but here is one flower. Here's another one. And this one is the citrus, really pretty color. This one was my first attempt. This one is the Dr. Zevia, which I'm trying to make now to do it over. I was using these little pliers, and I don't know, it just gave it a little bit too much of a square edge. I prefer the softer look. But every rose is different. And then we have a blue one. And this one I think is really cool. This one is the lemon lime twist. So 3 colors. And the blue one, I think I said that one already. And then if you look over here, this one is totally different to the others because I haven't folded the petals. So whatever look you're going for, I'm going to go ahead and fold it just like this later on. So these are 100% recycled, no glue, no wire. Okay, I'm going to show you on the big one what you want to do. Okay, so first of all you want to divide this into 6 pieces, and it's really not as hard as what you would think. You're going to put one line there, and then you come directly opposite it to cut it in half. Now ignore one half for the moment, and you're just going to divide it into 3 segments. 1, 2, 3. So let's put a line there, a line there, and then you're going to do the exact same thing over here. And remember, if it's not perfect, it's fine. Okay, so what I like to do is, if I was doing it with the scissors, I would just snip. And the great thing is you can kind of line your scissors up on the other side. Now, what you're going to do, you're going to come in with the scissors, and you're going to start here. Let's put the scissors and put this in a better place. You're going to start over here, come in smoothly, right to where that line is. Okay, then you're going to make a cut. Then you're going to, it's actually harder to draw it, surprisingly. You're going to cut that piece off. Much easier to just go ahead and cut it. And then you're going to just repeat the exact same thing. And since this is just whiteboard marker, it's going to come right off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just cut the rest. Sometimes if you come around an edge, it'll kind of mess up the edge of the next flower. Then just go ahead and take a small little slither off and smooth it up. Now, remember I told you to keep this piece. If you're not going to use the wire, you can fold it over just with your hands. I've done that before, but it does take a little longer. So what I like to do is to line it up, and I'm just going to straighten this edge. You don't have to, but straighten that. Oh, I guess I took my glove off too soon. Now, you're going to pull this up to create a crease for the stem. So, just keep folding this. Okay, that looks good. And then just push it with your fingers. worry if this piece gets a bit more narrow, that's great because you can use it inside of the flour. And I'm just going to push this down. Awesome. Okay, let's put the lid on. It's a lot easier if you have a assembly line going, because then you can just do all your cuts at one time. And just cut on this side with the red line. And you could actually get 2 stems out of this one. Okay, and we're done with that little piece for now. Small little piece there. Okay. I'm going to, this one is a better one because it has this little small piece, but I'm going to show you what you could do to make it easier to get this stem through the flour. So you could of course cut it smaller to look like the other one, or you could actually fold it. Let's open it here. Once you have it open, you can go ahead and fold it smaller. Fold this one around. So you can just kind of mess with it and squash it down a bit. The advantage of this is it's going to be stronger. You don't want to squash it too tight because I had one of these break. Okay, now comes the fun part. Squash this a little tighter, not too tight. Okay, remember, if you want a red flour, you're going to make sure your red is at the top. If you want a silver flour, you're going to make sure that the silver is on the top. And you see I had green at the bottom here, so I'm not going to put the green right on top. I'm going to try and make it as random as possible. If you find that the method of cutting with the craft knife is a little difficult, you could hammer a nail through, let's move the screen over, to make a hole. And of course, if these aren't fitting through, you can just go ahead and cut them a little bigger if they don't want to pop over the hole. Okay, and then now this little one, the last final one, you're going to want to make sure you put it the opposite direction. So if you were making a silver flour, you're going to want to make sure that that red is showing. If you're making a red flour, you want to make sure that that silver is showing. Okay, now we're going to take the pliers. I'm going to try and get this so that you can see. Usually I would be holding it like this, but I'll try show it towards the camera. I'm going to make a small fold, and then another small fold, and one more fold. Okay, now you're going to fold the back over. And it's going to be flat just like that. And usually what I go ahead and do is once I fold it over, then I still leave that fold over here, but I fold it up so that it can be upright like a flower instead of, that's not a good example. Where's one that I haven't folded? This one. See, I haven't folded that one into the upright position, so no flour is going to stand like that. So I'm going to fold it into the upright position so that the flour will be standing. Okay. But for now, it's easier if you don't yet fold it into the upright position, but we'll get to that. Okay, now what you're going to want is a trusty little hairband. Put it around your wrist or just leave it on the table in a good safe space. Okay, and you're going to push your flour flat. And I remember there was a part that wasn't red with the barcode, so I'm just going to find that. Okay, I got it. So I'm going to start here, and you pull it up. And this first one, you're going to want to fold a V onto it so that you can get that cone shape in the middle of the rose. And that's the other reason why it has to be the opposite direction, because this one, you'll see what I mean when we're done folding it. Because this one in the middle, we're actually not going to unwrap it. This one's being stubborn, so we'll just give it a little bit of help. Okay, and then you fold the next one around. See, I'm just folding the barcode up right now, so put that on the inside. And try to do this so that you can see it. And you just go around in a circle until, okay, that was the first petal done. The little one on the top, you don't have to hold as tightly as the rest. It's more these next three that are kind of tricky, where you have to really hold on really tight. Okay, so this is the last one that I put on. Okay, so we're going to take the next one from the bottom of the next flower and squash it around. You can turn it or keep it in the same direction, just depends on how the flower is behaving. I prefer to generally just keep it really in the same position. Okay, so that was my last flower. Okay, this is where it's going to start wanting to feel like it's going to pop out your fingers, so unfortunately I can't show you guys everything, like let go of it, because the whole thing will just fall apart. Okay, so I'm just doing the exact same thing till we get to the top. So I'm going to fast forward that. That's all the folding. Okay, so you're going to want to try hold it and bring the elastic down. And with this one, it's not very tight, so I have to bring it around a second time. Okay, now it seems to be behaving. Okay, so you're going to want to squash it in. Squash it in on this side, a little bit on this side. And push it towards the table. Just want to get these little creases over here. And here. There we go. Okay, so if you don't want to do that folding method, you can start in the middle of the flower and just kind of work your way around. But I think this makes it so much easier. Okay, in the beginning I used to use just a thin pen or mechanical pencil, something with a nice edge, and I used to use these, but I found since then it's so much easier to just use your fingers. It gives a much better look. Okay, so this, you just have to kind of eyeball it. See it's not working, fold it again. Remember, there is no formula, it's not perfect. Sometimes just the imperfections can make something perfect. Okay, and I'll fold that one to the side, and maybe this one I'll put my fingers in the middle here and kind of fold a little triangle in. And because it doesn't look that great, I'm going to just roll this a little bit. Make it look a little bit more natural. There we go. Not that a metal flower is very natural, but we'll just go with that. And fold that one. Maybe this one will just fold straight down. Okay. Almost there. Do you see in the middle, it's silver until you fold it over? Well, imagine when you got to that first layer of the flour and you're not going to fold that over. Well, you're just going to have this silver chunk. That's the reason why we have made that one little first layer, the smallest flour, be the opposite direction. So this is the second layer, but once we get to that first layer, you'll see it will be red without us folding it over. I have to flip them over because remember we put this upside down. If you want, you can open it a bit, but I like it to be closed. This one here, you can either go ahead and trim it, or I'm just going to fold it in. Or not. I'm just gonna get a little square fold like that. There we go. Complete. Okay, so remember at the bottom, what you're gonna want to do is, oh, that wasn't big enough. Fold it in a zigzag, just like that, so that, you know, it doesn't fall right down. Just kind of squash it into place. You can twist it and move it how you want. Okay, I'm going to make these into a bunch of flowers. And there you have it. Some flowers that will last forever. Let's write a message here. I wrote a little happy birthday message, and I'm going to put it in there. And I'm going to just cut it in the shape of a leaf. You could also use a green can as a shape for the leaf. Also, the Zevia cans have little leaves that you could cut out and add into your arrangement.